Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
And I should say both in the sanctuary and on Zoom. Hello. It's truly a wonderful day in the neighborhood. I'm Reverend Dr. Brenda Negley, and I'm happy to see all of you. As a friendly reminder, if you brought a phone with you and you're not sure if it's on mute or turned off, if you want to check that right now, that'd be wonderful. Thank you. All right. Do we have any visitors or guests? I don't see anyone that I haven't met before. Anyone? All right, how about on Zoom? Anyone new or visiting? Any guests? I don't see anyone waving their hand, so I think we're good. All right. Next week we'll meet new people, I'm sure. All right. For everyone that is here, in the seat in front of you is the Positive Living Center's belief chart, the prayer of protection, and the offertory prayer. You may want to use this during our service today for reference, and you may also take it home with you as a thank you for joining us today. Today is May. And what is the date today?
22nd.
It's the 22nd of May already. Wow. All right, well, it's the 22nd of May, surprise, surprise. And this is the year of creating a healthy lifestyle. Our themes of the month of May are coordination, related to the physical, courage, related to the mental, and kindness, related to the spiritual. And now is the time for meditation. We will be listening to Reverend Missy while we meditate, and when she is finished, there will be a time of quiet. When meditation is over, I'll be playing one of my bowls, calling you back from your meditation, and then we'll then go on to the next thing, right?
Yes.
So, I'd like to ask you to get yourself settled. Thank you for turning down the light. Allow yourself to take a nice deep breath. Close your eyes. Bring in the vibration of your being and your heart, as the energy will fill this room while we silently meditate together and while Missy leads us in song.
Just place your attention on your heart space. And imagine the golden white light of the presence there, and allow it to move down through your feet into the earth and up through your head to infinity and out through the pores of your skin, the inner presence. The inner presence is the quiet place within, where I am one with God, where there is no limitation, and each part of me moves in harmony and freedom. There are no mistakes, no hurt, no past. There is only now. The inner presence is the quiet place within, where I am one with God, where I live, laugh, and rejoice in the silence, in the power that is God in me, God as me. The inner presence is the quiet place within, where I am one with God. There is only the calm of the all good. My mind rests in the one mind, its stillness with me and as me. I am peace, I am calm. I am one with God, and I give thanks, and it is so, and all is well. The inner presence is the quiet place within, where I am one with God.
All right, I welcome you back. Get into your body. as we let our hearts unfold and we reconnect to our inner energy. We come back to the room, calm, relaxed, clear, and balanced. Oh, thank you, Missy. That was lovely. Thank you. Our spiritual talk is next. Reverend Joe Bull, we are ready to hear your thoughts.
Thank you, Reverend. Today, very briefly, I just want to talk to you about kindness, and specifically random acts of kindness, which are my favorites. They're not designed, they're not scheduled, they're not planned. It just boom happens between two individuals or maybe more. I can give you lots of examples of random acts of kindness. I was once at a fast food place. I was really hungry and I was going to pick up something for Luana and take it home so we can have some lunch. Went in there and made my order, and all I had in my pocket was my driver's license. I went back to the car and looked, and I had left my wallet. Everything was at home. So I went up to the gal and I said, I'm going to have to cancel my order. I forgot my money. And this woman behind me says, I'll pay for his meal. And it just shocked me. I couldn't believe it. I just went, wow, thank you. And she paid for the meal. And I said, look, let me get your name and phone number before you leave, and I'll call you and get your address, and I'll send you a check for the covering of the food. She goes, no. She goes, you don't need to do that. Just pay it forward. Just pay it forward to somebody else. And I've never forgotten that. It was years ago. And I told her, I said, I will do so. And I got the opportunity not too long after that at Vaughn's. An elder couple was in front of me. They had just finished, getting checked out, and they didn't have enough money. They were paying cash for all the groceries they wanted to purchase. So they started taking things out of the bag that they thought they can get by without. I said, I'll cover that for them. I'd be glad to. And they just said, thank you. And they said the same thing to me. Can I get your name, phone number? I'll send you some money. I said, just pay it forward. Just pay it forward to somebody else, because there's going to be an opportunity out there where someone's going to need something at that very moment. And we've seen that. We've all witnessed it. We've either witnessed it, we've either maybe received it, or we've given it in our lives, haven't we? There was a gal on Herndon Avenue near Clovis Avenue in Clovis. The light just turned green, and she started to proceed through the intersection, and her car stalled, and she kept trying to get it started, and she started to panic. And there was two young guys sitting in a parking place for a bus stop. Hot day. They got up, ran out there, had her put the car in drive in neutral, and pointed to the gas station, and they pushed her off the road into the gas station. And when she parked it, they went right back to their bus stop. They didn't go wait for accolades or anything like that. They just wanted to do something nice for someone at the moment, because maybe they would like to have that done to them someday. Those kind of things happen all the time. All the time. There was a gal with a lot of groceries at Vaughn's just a week ago. I was there in the parking lot, and she's pushing her cart, and she gets it up to her car. She opens up the trunk, and she's got a great big individual bottles of water. And she's looking at that like, how am I going to get this in that trunk? And I said, let me get that for you. And I put it in there, and I finished helping her put the rest of her groceries. And she goes, thank you. And I said, you're welcome. And it just feels good, doesn't it? Just to help somebody else. It makes you, remind you that there is good in this world everywhere. Now, the news can tell us just how bad everything is and how the world's falling apart. And we've got all these possible wars going on or starting. But we know that if you keep reading positive things like random acts of kindness, you're gonna realize that the world really is still a good place, always because of that. If you're looking for more kindness, you will find it and more of it. In our world, if I'm looking for bad news over something that upset me in the news that morning, I'll see more of it, won't I? If you look for something bad, you will find it all day long wherever you go. If you're looking for random acts of kindness or positivism, that's what you're going to see every day in your world. That's how our mind works, doesn't it? I think, there was a man walking from North Fork up on 274 heading toward Bass Lake area. Hot day. And I was coming up to go home. I was tired. I wanted to get home, but I said, I can't. This hot day. This guy's walking up a hill. And I stopped. I said, can I give you a lift someplace? He goes, I'm only going about 3 miles up the road to visit my friend. My car is broken down. So I go, why don't you get in and let me? He goes, well, I'm pretty dirty. I said, I don't care. I can clean the car. Come on. So we had a nice conversation. So I dropped him off at his buddies, and he thanked me, and he says, God bless you. And I said, God bless you too. Those are the kind of things that we run across all the time, and we have an opportunity to make somebody else's world so much better. It really does work. Take those opportunities when you have them. And so it is.
Eventually you'll get it. Thank you, Reverend Joe. That was lovely. I taught random acts of kindness in my classroom when I was teaching. They had these little ribbons and surprise people and just leave it.
Nice.
Such a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Random acts of kindness. I'm sure we've all done that. It's a habit. All right, so we will now welcome our musician, Missy, again to share with us her musical wonder. We're not able to hear you, Missy.
I love that. Divine action. Thank you. Thank you. I know I have all these buttons here. But I love random acts of kindness because it's like it's a subset of perfect action. And that's what my song's about today, is perfect action. Oh, I am one with perfect action. I am one, oh, with perfect action. Nothing in me hinders my words. There are no obstructions, no delays. All-knowing love flows through my life. I am one with perfect action. I am one with perfect action. Harmony operates through me, carried along by right action. God works through me. Works through me now and always. I am one with perfect action. Oh, I am one with perfect action. Oh, I am one with perfect action.
Another lovely one, Missy. Stop trying to fix the camera, but thank you. That was lovely. I like the harmony works through me, and I think it works through all of us here. Harmony works through us. Thank you, Missy. All right, and next coming up is our wonderful speaker today, is Reverend Kim Haley.
Oh, I think I'm going to step on something.
Well, we can, all right.
Maybe we'll get more than, you'll get my neck and shoulders and head.
Want this to be up there?
Does that work?
Hold it down.
Okay.
High tech. We're at
High
PLC.
tech, I like it. I like it.
Here we go.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Kelly.
I wanted to begin my talk this morning by thanking everybody for participating in last week's healing PLC session that we had, the healing circle last week. And I especially wanted to thank all the people that were brave enough to get up and to try it out. Something that was unknown, something that might have been a little bit scary. And I wanted to thank all the ministers that participated and those that witnessed it. I think that it was so wonderful, and I want to thank LJ for bringing it to us too.
Yes.
I don't know about you, but it was a real boost to my spirit. And I felt it all week long. Every time I thought about it, I thought, wow, that was just so profound. It felt so good. So thank you again. And I think that connection is what it's all about. Connection is what it's all about. So it was at the Angel Car Wash, yeah. And I think I'd like to also start this by just two things. I'm going to tell you this little quick story that I wasn't going to put in my talk this morning. But, I feel compelled to tell you people, all here at the PLC, my friends, about my dream habits. Because when I wake up in the morning and I'm coming in through that twilight period of entering into the day from the sleep cycle and dream cycle, I start hearing things. And I think it's because the control center, the brain, the beta brain, or is it the beta brain that's always yakking, is still sleeping. So things come up there for me. And this morning I heard, why don't you start with the inarticulate speech of the heart? Why don't you start with that? And I went, well, I wasn't planning on doing that. I have a plan. And I thought about it, and I thought, that's what my talk is actually about. If we're talking about connection, and we're talking about kindness and compassion, sometimes there's no word. We haven't got the words for certain feelings yet. Well, there is some wisdom that says it's only two things. It's either fear or love. And that may be true, but I think there's a lot of words that we have difficulty in expressing what we're really feeling to somebody else. And I didn't come up with this. Brene Brown, who has got, she's on HBO right now, and she's got a program, a series. And the series is called, if I don't forget it, is called Atlas of the Heart. Atlas of the Heart. And it's how do we cultivate, she asked the question, how do we cultivate meaningful connection with ourselves and with others? How do we cultivate that? And she said, it's kind of, she has a live audience, and they're participating together in exploring the need for humans to have a language as expansive as the human experience is. Because there's so many ways that we could learn how to really say how we're feeling and get there. But anyway, I wanted to also start with that, to talk about connection and that. And now I wanted to talk about, I also wanted to give a shout out to Van Morrison, because he's the one that wrote the song, or I think it might have been a CD album, whatever, Inarticulate Speech of the Heart. And it always stuck with me. I love that. How do we articulate what we're feeling? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Not too well.
Not too well? Okay. Is that better?
That's better.
I know, because my head goes down and up and down and up. Okay. I'll try to keep it a little louder. But I'm going to get quiet, but I'll be quietly loud. See, I need a word for that. I'd like everyone to close their eyes and take a few deep breaths. This is called a compassion exercise. And it was put together by a gentleman that I've never met named Harry Pullman. And it's about 5 different little paragraphs that you could employ if you want to, whenever you're in a place that has people and you feel maybe compelled to do this, because it'll also make you feel good if you do it. So it's called the compassion exercise. And it says try to do all 5. Now, you're not going to have a pop quiz and have you remember all 5. You might have one that's specific that you like. So one of them, to start with, is number 1. Your eyes are closed and you are maybe in the grocery store. You can picture yourself maybe being at Rayleigh's or Vaughn's or the Go store. And it says, with the attention on the person, any person that you pick, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person is seeking some happiness for his or her life. That's number 1. Number 2, with attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering in his or her life. 3, with attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person has known sadness, loneliness, and despair. With the attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person is seeking to fulfill his or her needs. And 5, with the attention on the person, repeat to yourself, just like me, this person is learning about life. You can open your eyes now if you like. But did you feel it? And that's important. And if anybody's interested, I can print this up and have it for you next week if you want one. So come and see me after the service if you want one of those. You can just pick one. You can say it in your own words. But it is the idea of a calm stillness in a busy place. And a lot of the time we lose touch in those areas. We lose touch with other people. Anyway, I thought that would be nice to start with. As we said, there's physical and coordination, mental, courage, emotion, spiritual and kindness, and I put emotion, feeling, because I added that because I'm going to concentrate on the spiritual kindness aspect of the themes today, and it also includes the experience of feeling and courage. You know, it takes courage to, can you hear me still? It takes courage to be the first person sometimes to say, I love you in a relationship. It takes courage to maybe approach somebody who looks sad, who's crying, and you don't know them, and maybe you're called to go and talk to them, and you might feel rejected. You might feel a lot of different things if you take that chance, take that risk. And it is an exquisite risk. It really is. So I also want to ask you, what does the idea of kindness conjure up for you? You know, inside of you. What is your definition of kindness? And how does that definition of yours about kindness shape the way that you interact in the world? It's been said in many ways that our perspectives drive our practices. And you can change your thoughts, and that changes your experience of the world. More than the thinking mind, the thing that is huge in all of us, and often underappreciated, is the realm of human feelings. I have a quote here from Professor, I don't know this professor, but this is his quote, and see how you like it or not. His name is Professor Damasio. He's an MD and a PhD. And he says, we are not necessarily thinking machines. We are feeling machines that think. Now, when I read that, I didn't particularly like the idea of being a machine at all. I didn't like the word machine, but I get the gist of what he's saying. And that we really, I would say probably 89, and I don't know, I'm just picking a number, but I've heard this, that a huge percentage of what goes on in our lives is driven by the way that we feel. And our thoughts can help us, of course they can, but it's how we feel, how we react, how we show up. And I thought, what does all this have to do with kindness? And I think, only everything. Only everything. Presence, how we show up, how we feel about ourselves. And if we do not know, and Brene Brown has a very good quote, I wanted to say it, our connection with other people, and we are hardwired to connect, by the way. Our connection with people is only as solid and deep as our connection with ourselves. It is only so and ourselves, I mean, it's getting to know who we are, being kind to ourselves, to understand ourselves. It's a big word, and a lot of the time we feel that we're running around and externally doing things when we have everything we need inside of us already. You know, we're looking for that. In this book, Peace is Every Step, by Thich Nhat Hanh, the late Thich Nhat Hanh, a Zen monk and master, he said, when we are in contact with another's suffering, a feeling of compassion is born in us. Compassion means literally to suffer with. So it doesn't always sound like we're going to be at a party, you know, it doesn't always sound like it's going to be easy, but to suffer with is to feel what somebody is actually feeling in that moment. The mind of compassion is truly present when it is effective in removing another's suffering. We can also meditate on the suffering of those who cause us to suffer. Anyone who's made us suffer is undoubtedly suffering themselves. And it says we need only to follow our breathing and look deeply, and naturally we will see his or her suffering. Now, I've failed at that lots of times myself. Missing that. I've missed the mark sometimes. And I'm going to share a few experiences and stories that happened for me, to me. I think they happened for me. And the first one was like 30 years ago. might even be longer, when I lived in England, in London, England, in Greater London. And still, can you hear me still? It kind of shifts. Anyway, I was living in England, and I'd probably been there about a year. And we had just recently moved to Greater London, or it was called Edgware, Middlesex. And I was still coming to grips with how life is, how the culture is, how people are in England. I guess I had some stereotypes, and they were being all getting dumped in the garbage, really. I mean, because I was learning that's not the way these people are. You know, you thought of. Anyway, I had the day off. I was by myself. I had a package I needed to take to the post office. So I went to the post office in Edgware. In the high street is the main street of shops and things. And I'm going to that post office, and I see a line like out the door. And you know, I'm a prairie girl. I lived in Canada. You don't see another person sometimes when you're walking down the street, ever. In Alberta, where I come from. It's changed now. But this was, you know, I thought a smaller little area of London. But it was full of people, big long lineup, lots of people shifting from one leg to another, getting impatient. And I thought, well, I don't have anything better to do. I have to get this mailed off, so I'm going to stand here and wait. So during the course of this waiting in line, there was other people that joined behind me, and we were slowly shuffling in to the building to get closer to getting our business taken care of. And there was one young woman who had a stroller with a baby in it, and her friend was sitting there, and they were talking. Everybody else is silent and looking a little agitated at the wait. I don't know, I just read that in them. I might have been myself, but this woman's in her animation and talking, her stroller accidentally went into the ankles of the woman in front of her. And that woman was behind me. So they're right behind me. And the woman behind me went, it's like a tutting sound in England. She was not happy about this, and, you know, started to get, agitated. And then I don't know what happened, but the woman behind her started to get, in reaction to her, agitated herself. And I started to feel this. I have spider senses, and I could feel that something was going to shift in this area pretty quick. Something was going to happen. I didn't know what, and I was standing there going, well, I could tell there's tension. I can feel the tension. And then it was like I heard her talking to her friend again, but this time she was mumbling about the woman and, about her so that everyone could hear her. Pretty soon, this woman behind me turned, and they looked at each other, and something was exchanged. I do not remember the words because it happened rapidly. This happened very quickly. They started, I don't know who threw the first slap. I don't know who did this. The physical altercation took place in front of me. They ended up on the ground rolling. These are people that have never met each other. I couldn't move. I was transfixed. I was frozen. I felt fear. I was overwhelmed by what was happening in front of me. And I knew a part of me was thinking, like trying to think, what do I do? How do I rectify the situation? How do I break this up? How do I stop these people from doing this? And I tell you, I don't know how long this took place, but I just felt that I failed because I couldn't come out of my overwhelm by what was happening in front of me. And all of a sudden, this angel appeared. I don't know where he came from, but he stood there. I call him the angel in blue denim overalls. He might have been 30-something. He was in his overalls. He had a kind, soft voice. And he said, ladies, if you don't stop, you're going to hurt yourselves. I thought that was like a magic wand. It was like a magic wand. I couldn't even say words. That's how freaked I was. And they just stopped immediately. They stopped this crazy brawl that was going on the floor. They stopped, got up, got back into line, and stood there and didn't say another word. And I was like, what? Am I hallucinating? Did this just happen? And it did. And I shuffled to the counter, and the counter has glass from the counter to the ceiling, and now I know why. Things like this go on in the post office there, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, I shuffled there, and I looked at the clerk and wanted to like look at him and say, that just happened. I mean, like I was looking for someone to help me off, with this craziness, help me to say, yeah, that happened, and you witnessed that. And so I just shuffled out after, and I had to live with that all day long. It was, around me most of the day, and I felt badly about myself at that moment because I couldn't come up with anything. I couldn't get him to stop. I didn't know what to do. But I learned. And I also learned that this was actually a wonderful experience. It sounds crazy to say that, but it was a wonderful experience because angels appear. You're not alone. Like Joe said, he didn't have his wallet. Oh, I'm going to have to let this go. And somebody went, nah, I understand. I understand. I feel it. I know it. So that happened. And, I had a lot of processing to do over that. I don't like to see violence. I don't really like confrontation. But I will tell you, I had to feel something for both of those women too. And life went on. So there's my backstory. I want to do another quote for you. There's some other things that happened to me that when I was in England that I remember with fondness too. I really, really enjoyed and found my time in England and in London very worthwhile, and I found the people to be wonderful people. And I remember the first day that I had to, by myself, go into the underground and get to an appointment in an hour. And I had my little A to Z, it's called A to Z. It's like that thick paperback of a street guide, street maps. There are street maps all over, and there's a way you can use them and reference them. But what happened for me is that I'm looking at this schematic on this wall, in the underground. This is back in the 80s. And my brain would just not do it. I looked at it, and I was, again, feeling a little frozen. And I was trying to put together, this is not how I live. I come from Alberta. We do east, west, south, and north, and we know where that is. This is in an underground, it's dark, people are bustling by, and there's this schematic on the wall. And I'm thinking, this is not happening up here. It's not going in. And I must have looked stunned or bewildered or freaked out or whatever. And this, again, angel out of nowhere, gentleman shows up. He's got a little trilby hat on. He's got his raincoat. And he goes, are you having some trouble, love? And I said, yes. And he told me how to get to where I had to go, how to navigate through. And I thought, oh, can I just put you in my pocket and keep you there? Could you just stay with me through my whole trip? Could you just be with me? But he got me through it. And I was really grateful. It's just little. What you'd think is ordinary, is extraordinary for someone to come up and help like that. So I was remembering that, and I felt so fortunate for those times. I mean, I've had some difficult times there too, but for the most part, people were kind. And they say love, which always makes you feel good. They say love. So I would like to do another quote, and it's from a book called Everyday Tao or Tao, and it's under the title of Kindness. And it says the deepest kindness comes not from simply thinking of others, but in feeling what they feel. The true kindness comes not from those who just think about how it might feel to be hurt, but from those who actually do feel it. And he asks, can you feel hunger? Can you feel poverty? Can you feel desperation? Can you feel disease? Can you feel injustice? Can you feel laughter? Can you feel joy? If you meet others who are suffering and you have it within your power to help them, if you feel it, you will try. Those who are truly kind are not so because of theory or ethics, but because they feel the suffering of others as directly as they would their own. The ability to feel human need can develop your sensitivity to feel the Tao. And now I'm going to flash forward 30 years, almost 30 years ahead, to when I went to visit my daughter in Philadelphia. And she works at the university there, and she told me about the university bookstore, so I was really happy because I love bookstores, I like libraries, I like hanging around, that sort of element of things. And I think, do we have Kleenex? Oh, good, I need a Kleenex. My nose is running, thank you. Anyway, excuse me. And I was visiting her, and I was going to go and kill some time, basically kill it, enjoy some time, let's put it that way, in the library there and the bookstore, and wait for her to get off work, and then we were going to walk home together, a couple miles home. And so I went and waited for her after work, and we walked home. We're having a pleasant conversation, having a nice time. It's a pleasant day. And we're kind of talking about how we're going to kick back when we get home, and, you know, what are we going to eat, and then maybe we'll get comfortable and we'll watch a movie. So we're kind of planning these sort of things. We're yakking, we're looking, and we're coming up about a block and a half away from where she lives. And it's then that I hear, and I feel this in my body, I hear somebody screaming. I hear somebody screaming, and it hit my body. It hit my body before my mind even processed anything. I felt it. And I turned to Sarah and I said, somebody's in trouble. Somebody's in trouble. I feel it. I can hear it. And she said, oh, it's just probably some kid screaming. I said, no, no, no. And then I just took off running towards the screaming sound. Now, if that was me 30 years before, I wouldn't have done that. I don't think I would have done that. I was too afraid. I was too afraid to do that. And I did this, but my heart and everything just said, move. It just, I don't even remember it saying move. We just moved. We just did it. And I ran up, and there was, I see it, there's a row of houses, and there's this woman holding, she's got young woman, she's got 3 dogs on a leash, and she's screaming and crying and pointing. And I go up to her, and I kind of gently went up to her because she was in such anguish. That's the only word, anguish. And I got that word from listening to Brene Brown's talk. Anguish is another way of expressing. She was in a place of overwhelm. And I touched her, and she kind of looked like she could register that then. And so I said, what's the matter? And then I looked over, and there was a little dog laying still in the road. And she was extremely upset because somebody had illegally driven into the service road as a shortcut and hit her dog that she was taking to the dog park. And she was in pain, in a lot of deep pain. And I thought, what can I do? Right? What can I do? And I said, where is it that you live? And she lived the house was 2 doors down. So I said, and my daughter stayed there, and I said, I'll be right back. And I went to the door, and I knocked on the door, and 2 little children answered the door. And I didn't want to startle the little children. I just said, is your mom and dad home? Or you know, and the little boy goes, "What's the matter?" He says it right away. He goes, "What's wrong?" I said, "Oh, nothing much." He goes, "Oh, that's not true." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Well, I just need to speak to somebody like your older brother or your dad or mom right now." And he goes, okay. So he goes and gets him. He comes back, and I asked the brother comes out, and I told him what happened. He took the other 3 dogs into the house, make sure they were okay. And I said, you know, maybe we should call a vet or something. Maybe this little dog can still be saved. We don't know. But your sister's really upset. And then by the time that took place and I came back, there were more people there. There were some human angels doing some amazing work. And one of them was sitting with her by the little dog and talking to her quietly. Other people came to see what they could do. So it was an experience, and I felt like, okay, things are calming here. Things are starting to calm. I can't take away the pain of the loss of her dog, but at least she had some support there. And we did what we could in that moment. And we all do what we can in that moment. So we left and we went home. And that wasn't what we were expecting when we got out of bed that morning. And that's what life is. It's full of certain surprises. You don't plan it. So the next morning when we were up, we talked about it again, Sarah and I, my daughter, and she said, well, maybe I should go over and check. And I said, well, if that's what you feel what you want to do, that's fine. I said, I don't feel the need to do that. I feel that what we did in that moment was what we needed to do. I don't need any more information, and I don't need any thanks. I just it felt right. And I learned that I'm growing. That, you know, I can handle some of these things. I have been through a few things that have helped me handle some stuff about life that is uncomfortable. You know, it's not always about that, but anyway. Brene Brown talks about vulnerability as a portal to connection. And vulnerability is, you know, I feel the fear, and you do it anyway. But my heart, you know, I think that vulnerability, and she does say this too, and she says it in a different way, but I believe that vulnerability is the seat of courage. Because when you're vulnerable and you're showing yourself and you're being yourself, it takes courage to show up and be that person and do that thing and allow yourself to be seen. And as I said earlier, sometimes it's you that has to say, I love you, I care about you. There's one other story, and it comes from Deep Kindness, a book called Deep Kindness. I think his name is Houston. He tells a story about Helga, a woman he met on an airplane. And Helga was, he was sitting there, and he called it the hot dog seat. He was in the hot dog seat. He was in the middle seat, and there's two others, the people that sit on either side of you are the bun, and you're in the hot dog seat. And he said he was all ready to, you know, shut down, like get his little listen to his music and be comfortable. And then Helga shows up, and Helga's got the window seat. So she has to get to the window seat, and she's like, oh, no, don't get up, don't get up. And she's just going to try and get in there, but she doesn't want to make, a fuss. And she sits down, and she turns to him, and she goes, hi, my name's Helga, what's your name? And he goes, she had a little more energy than he would have liked because he wanted to go to sleep. And he tells a story that's it's quite amusing at first, because she puts her little dog, she has a little dog, and she's got a little knitted caftan, and she's got a neck pillow. And she's getting comfortable, but she wants to talk. She's animated. She wants to make connection here. And, sometimes we don't want to. You know, we just want to go in and be quiet. So in the course of this, she starts saying, well, what do you do? What do you do? And he says, well, I speak about kindness, which seems kind of funny. And and she says, oh, and then he said, and you know, when I was in high school, we had this group that got together to promote kindness because we wanted to live in a kinder world. And I think he might have written the book Random Acts of Kindness. I can't remember if he did or not. His name's Houston. Anyway, he was explaining this to her, and she went, kindness, she started crying. And she goes, kindness is the best thing. It's the best thing. And then she proceeded to tell him her story. And her story was that the last time she had flown was 3 years ago because of her father's passing. She had woken up in the middle of the night from the doctor, her father's doctor, who was in Texas, and she didn't live there, obviously, and said, you better get here because your dad is failing. So she got on a plane, she got a ticket, and she was on the plane and got a call that her dad had passed. She didn't make it. So she sat in like a 3-hour trip in stunned silence, not saying anything, and then she got off, and then she crumpled and started to cry. And she cried in the airport for, I guess, a couple of hours. She sat there and cried, and you know, everybody's whizzing by. 3,000 people are whizzing by in this airport, and nobody stopped. Nobody stopped to talk to her. And that's where I think vulnerability and courage, when we're talking about what the idea of courage is, comes in. And kindness, it's not because people had planes to catch and all of that, they might not have even noticed, because that's what happens too. But she just said that I don't think we live in a kind world because of her experience. And I know from my experience that we do. So, but that was one of her defining experiences, that nobody stopped to even ask her what was wrong. And so he uses Helga in a lot of his talks. They become good friends, and he uses her story as an example, because she says, I don't think there's kindness, and I know in my heart that there is kindness. I know that. I've maybe been fortunate, or I just look for it, or I see it in small things, in the ordinary, every day. But that was another story. And I was also in the airport, in the Phoenix airport, and I had a 6-hour stopover, and I had just come out of a meditation retreat with Joanne Burgess. And those are like 2 days long. And one of the things that happened was, she always said, treat yourself after you're in a meditation retreat like you're convalescing, because you've just done a lot of energetic work, you've just done a lot of work. And I never really took that on board until I had to fly the next day. I had to pack my bags as soon as I got home and fly the next day to Canada to see my parents and my family. And I had this 6-hour stopover, and I tell you, it was the energy of being in the airport, which I normally like, because you know, I like the idea of going somewhere. It was too much for me. It was too much for me. I wanted to hide out. I was like, wow, I've never had this experience before. And I found they have a little chapel there. And next to the little chapel, they also have a room that has some couches and stuff like that, and there was nobody in there. And I had my little carry-on roller luggage, and I rolled in there. I sat down in the dark, and I went, thank you. And I just stayed there, and I laid on the little couch. Somebody poked their head in and said, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine. I just need to, you know, decompress. And they were fine with that. So I was lucky. I felt fortunate that I found that, but I looked for it too. I was like looking for a place. So I know that it's there, and I can with certainty say that all of us can find that kindness. And it says the reward for love is closeness, a treasure that can't be bought, stolen, or achieved. Often we discover our dearest friends, when stopping to help another, or when someone is kind enough to carry us when we have fallen. There's no substitute for going through things together. When you lend a hand, you open a way for your heart to touch the heart of everything. This is a wealth that only grows, while those we may help may leave or die or simply grow into their own beauty and be loved by others. The closeness uncovered by kindness turns to light in the body until the closeness generated by kindness makes a lamp of the heart. And that was written by Mark Nepo, 7,000 Ways to Listen. So I think in the inarticulate speech of the heart, there's a lot of conversations that are going on. There is a lot of action going on. And we need not be afraid, because as we know, as PLCers, that the universe is always working for us. It is not against us. It is working for us. There is a poem I want to end with. I also want to just ask this once more. What does the idea or the meaning of kindness conjure up for you? What is your definition of kindness? How does your definition of kindness shape the way you interact with the world? You know, because I get to do these talks, I research some stuff, and I look and I get blessed by learning and listening to other people and finding information that's just their nuggets. And then I remember things that have happened to me in my life, and I feel good about my life. I feel good about having that experience. So it may be that you get something that comes up for you that makes you feel good by remembering what kindness is. And I will just read a short poem by Thich Nhat Hanh. Peace is every step. The shining red sun is my heart. Each flower smiles with me. How green, how fresh all that grows. How cool the wind. Peace is every step. It turns the endless path to joy. Namaste. I close our inside out today.
Oh, thank you, Kim. Thank you. I don't know why this stuck out with me, but I'm going to be on the watch out for your angel in the blue denim overalls. So I look forward to meeting that angel someday. All right. So next up is our offertory. And the offertory statement can be found in front of most of where you're sitting, if you'd like to find that, to join us in the offertory statement. But I'd like to invite Reverend Judy and Reverend LJ up to say the offertory prayer with me. All right. Thank you. Here you go. Divine love flowing through me blesses and increases all that I give and all that I receive. you both are so adorable. Well, I'd like to thank you financially for supporting the Positive Living Center. We are a nonprofit that is funded by donations only, and your generosity of spirit continually brings the power of love and the ability to transform lives and build our community. You may also send donations to the Positive Living Center to P.O. Box 2683 in Oakhurst, California, 93644, or PayPal via the green donate button tab that's shown in the weekly PLC iFocus that's online. And so now it is time for announcements. And is there anyone here, and what I'd like if someone could turn on the light behind us, if there's anyone that wants to make an announcement so we can see you. Because I know someone's going to have an announcement. Right? Anyone? Oh, sorry, maybe not that bright, but I wanted people on Zoom to hear you. Yay, Kim, we have an announcement.
I know, it might be sick hearing me, but anyway. Is it on?
Yes.
Okay. I also wanted to thank LJ for bringing Kuan Yin, which is, she is the saint of compassion. You know, I mean, no accidents. And it's beautiful, and she brought the candles too. It looks gorgeous. So thank you.
I helped.
Okay, and
You want to come up and talk about what you put in?
Couple things, just a couple things to announce. One is that Reverend Sandy has said yes for us to have a quarterly labyrinth experience. So for our community and for the possibility of expanding our community, we can have this quarterly experience. I am looking for a team of those interested in being part of this creative experience. So Kim, Judy, anybody else, if your heart is in helping to support this to be a reality, we want you, okay? I want to do this together. And Brenda, yeah. And the other thing is that, so just see me if you have any interest in participating in that, okay? And about Kuan Yin, Missy was talking earlier, so there's plenty that we could share, but one is Kuan Yin represents masculine and feminine, sometimes represented as a man, sometimes as a woman. Bodhisattva, it was mentioned, and also the thing that moves me from symbolism is how much activity is often underneath Kuan Yin and how much activity is in the clothing of the movement, like wind and movement, and this stillness of love and support for everyone who needs it. So for me, it represents the second chakra really beautifully, all-inclusive. It also represents that peace that passes understanding. So, and so much more. And really pretty. Next?
Thank you.
Oh, no, I want to hold on. I'll pass it to the next person.
Someone else? Announcements? Oh, are you afraid now, or?
Can I mention something else about the Kuan Yin?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because LJ mentioned that it was a bodhisattva, and what the bodhisattva is that they will not ascend until everybody on earth goes with them, and it's a very good symbol of PLC as community, because what it symbolizes is that everybody at PLC is helping everybody else travel their own path. And so it's a good remembrance when you see that the goddess of mercy and compassion and total unconditional love, and like LJ said, with the underpinnings of the flow of consciousness, and that we journey with each other, and we will not let anybody fall along the way without helping them and journey with them. And that's so.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing her in to hang out with us for a while. Or him.
Yeah.
Okay, so next I'd like anyone in need of prayer treatment at PLC. Our practitioners are here to support you. And the practitioner, I have the practitioner partner this week is Reverend Sandy. Or is that, yep, that's Reverend Sandy. There's also a frog box near the front door, so we ask that you write your prayer request if you want to add that to the prayer box to the PLC team and place that in the box, and that'll be checked regularly. If you're looking for prayers for yourself or someone else, please contact Practitioner Joe Bull, and he will put those prayers out to the prayer team, church practitioners, and reverends. His contact information can be found on the PLC newsletter iFocus as well. And the heart-to-heart. PLC has a heart-to-heart outreach, and we all go through life's transitions. So your PLC heart-to-heart team members are ready to partner with you on your journey. This is whether you need to talk or seek support for any other needs you might have. Together we create a new way of being in community. And Reverend Judy DeRosa is the heart-to-heart liaison. And you can find her contact information also on the PLC newsletter, the iFocus. And next week's speaker is Reverend Dr. Judy DeRosa. And now it is time for the prayer of protection that's also found on that card if you have that, if you'd like to follow along with that. It's this little green flyer. Well, partly green. So, here we go. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. The energy of God is me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Missy is going to sing something for us before we close in prayer.
Okay. It's called My Good. I meet my good and my good meets me. It is always here within me. I meet my good and my good meets me and expresses itself to me and expresses itself as me. My good finds me, I accept it now. I manifest what is mine now. My good finds me, I accept it now. I can see it, feel it, know it. I can see it, feel it, know it. Today I claim my good, and it is so, and it is so. So be it, and so we let it be so.
That was fun. All right. Reverend Sandy West, would you come up for the closing prayer?
I just want to mention, too, that those songs, Missy writes them. She was gifted musically. I've always been envious. Wish it could have been me. Oh, so just close your eyes and take a deep breath. And just feel the beauty of the knowledge that we received today. The knowings that were shared with us, the experiences that were shared with us, knowing that we're all walking together. We're all evolving together and helping each other. And that is so important. That kindness, that caring, that lifting a hand to help. It matters and it makes a difference. And it is the truth of who and what we are and what we believe. And I'm so grateful and thankful to be a part of this family. And go forth today, take it with you, share it with everyone, and smile. And say with me, please, and so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Sandy. We thank all of you for joining us today at the Positive Living Center. Go out and share the kindness and love that flows in your heart. And I look forward to seeing you again at PLC next week.